Welcome to Gmail. Today I'm going to tell you how to change your settings. First of all, you need to be at Gmail. Make sure you're logged into your school Gmail. You can tell that by looking in the top right corner and notice if you see G Suite up there. If you see G Suite, you're probably logged into your school Gmail. So once you're logged in, to get to settings, you go to the cogwheel located in the top right corner next to G Suite. That's the settings cogwheel, so I'm going to click it. Now you get initially just a short breakdown of settings, but if you want to change all settings or look at all settings, click here where it says See All Settings. All right, let's take it down piece by piece. First of all, language. We're under the General tab. You can choose your display language. If English is not your native language or you prefer in another language, notice all of the different choices that you have. Me, I only know English, so I'll leave it with English. And it talks about default country code for phone numbers. That's for using Meets. We'll leave it at United States since that's where we are. It'll show, by default, it's set to show 50 conversations per page. If you want fewer or more, you can click and change how many mail messages show up per page. Undo send. This is a really cool thing. Have you ever clicked send and went, I didn't want to send that? Well, by default, it's set to 5 seconds that you can change your mind. However, if you click on the down arrow, notice you can up that all the way to 30 seconds. You've got 30 seconds to change your mind before that message is actually sent. Or there's also 5, 10, and 20. So you can change that if you wish. Now let's talk about reply. Default reply behavior means that when you reply to an email, do you want it to reply only to the sender, or do you want it every time you hit reply by default to send to everybody that this message was sent to? So if the message was sent to everyone in the 8th grade and you have reply all selected, and then when you get that message, you hit reply. Well, it's not just replying to the original sender, it's replying to the entire 8th grade. So you might want to just simply set that to reply unless for some reason you want it set to reply to all. But that's what's going to happen when you choose reply to all. Okay, hover actions. This is when you hover over a specific message within your inbox. And you can see you can disable it or enable it. It just gives you access to archive, delete, or mark as read, or what have you, the different messages. Select whether or not you want hover. That's a personal preference. Send and archive. You have the option to send and archive messages. In other words, once you've replied back to one, then it can be archived. That means it's saved. So you can choose to show that or you can hide that in the button reply. Default text. So what default text do you want to have your messages in? By default, it's sans serif, but as you can see here, if you click on the down arrow, you have different styles, and you can pick one that is maybe more to your liking or what have you. And you can choose font. The bigger the font, though, you have to consider it tends to look like a 3rd grader did it. If you're sending mail messages and all of your messages typed in a huge font, that's not really advisable if you're trying to send a professional-looking email message. But if you have people who are visually impaired, perhaps huge would be a better option for you. It just depends on who you primarily send your messages to. And you can control what color the font is. If you want all your mail messages to be written in purple, you can change the color to purple or whatever color. You can see there's a rainbow of colors there. And this is to remove any formatting that you might have. So make your messages look the way you want. They're under default text styles. Moving on down, images, always display external images. So when you receive a mail message and it's got a picture in it, like I get messages from Bath & Body Works, and Bath & Body Works always have pictures with moving little candles flickering or whatever. With this box checked, you're going to get those. If you don't check this box, then whenever there's an external image, you'll just get a box, a white box with an X in it, and you won't get the full effect of the message, which is dynamic email, which is why dynamic email is selected. Okay, so these two kind of go together. Grammar, I highly recommend that you leave grammar suggestions on and spelling suggestions on, because we don't always use the best grammar or have the best spelling, and it's always nice to have that kind of back us up and catch it if it's misspelled. You'll know that it's misspelled because you'll get a little squiggly line underneath words that are either grammatically or spelled wrong. Autocorrect on, you can leave that on. It'll automatically fix commonly misspelled words for you without even, you having to do anything. That's pretty cool. Writing suggestions on, it gives you ideas for how to complete a sentence. This is AI at its best. You start typing a sentence and you see something pop up to try and complete your sentence for you. So if you would like writing suggestions, leave it on. If you get annoyed by those little pop-up things, turn it off. Personalization on, once you start sending some emails, Google's actually learning your writing style, and it adds in words like if you always send at the end of an email like I do, if you have any questions, call or text me, it'll fill it in for me now because it knows that that's one of the words that I tend to use a lot. Conversation view. Okay, so when I first got my Google account, I needed conversation view turned off. Here's why. I don't like all of the same topic emails grouped together. I get lost in who sent what and when. I prefer that if I'm having a conversation with someone through email, I want a separate email each and every time. I don't want to get only one showing up in my inbox and then I have to click and it pulls up all of our conversations. So I turned conversation view off on my Gmail. Now it's all in how you like to read it, but that's what this is. Conversation view, if you turn it off, then when you are emailing someone back and forth, you will get a separate message in your inbox for each message. It doesn't group them together. Okay, so that's a personal preference. The nudges, emails that I might have forgotten to respond to, Google will say, hey, maybe you need to reply to such and such and follow up on. If you want that checked, you can check it. Again, it's a personal preference as to whether or not you want Google reminding you, hey, you need to email so-and-so back. So then we move to Smart Reply. It shows suggested replies when available. So somebody sends me an email and asks, did I like dinner last night that they cooked for me or whatever. And when I hit reply, it automatically has suggestions on there. So again, that's AI at its best. So if you would like Smart Reply on or off, that's just where Google's going to give you suggestions on how to answer a question somebody might have emailed you. Desktop notifications. Okay, so if you want to know when you get an email notification on your desktop, you want a little bubble to pop up, then here's where you're going to do it. And you've got the option new mail notifications on, or important mail notifications on, or mail notifications off. By default, it's set to mail notification off. In other words, you're not going to get a notification. So if you click new mail notifications on, then every time you get a new mail message, a bubble will pop up and you will see it in the bottom right corner of your screen. Stars, the stars will rotate in order. So if you have a particular message starred, then you can it's setting importance of particular messages. And so you can go in there and put the stars and rotate them in order. It's just another way to organize your mail. Keyboarding shortcuts can be turned on or off. That's totally up to you how you want to, whether or not you want to use the keyboarding shortcuts within mail. Button labels, do you want it to be icons or text? In other words, on the toolbar, do you want it to be little pictures or do you want it to be words? What picture do you want to show up when you send an email message? Currently, if you look in my top right corner here, I don't have a picture selected for this account. It's just the initials, MS. That's for the account that I'm using. If you want a particular image, then you add it in right here. This is where you put your picture right here. You can create contacts for autocomplete. So when you send a message to a new person, it automatically adds them to your contacts. Or if you'd rather not have all that in your contacts, you can add them yourself. That's up to you. If you want every one of your email messages to end the same, you put in a signature. And so you can create new and have it every one of your emails end with sincerely and your name, or catch you later and your name, or however you want, and it'll put that signature at the end of each of your email. Then there's other ways of organizing your mail messages here. Under No Indicators or Show Indicators, you can see Display an arrow by messages here for Show Indicator. Snippets will let you see snippets of the message. So whenever you are checking your email, or you can choose no snippets, which means that you'll only see the subject. And then finally, if you go on vacation and you want to set up a vacation responder, you can do that and say I'm out of the office until whenever, and you can put that there. So that's some settings that are within Gmail. That's the general settings. If you go on across the top, you've got labels. Notice how you can change what labels show up within your mail. You can even create a new label if you want. I created a label in my personal account for my husband, and I set up a rule that said every email that comes from him automatically goes into that particular label. Here's my inbox. It controls with what my inbox will look like as far as my reading panes. And so you can go through that. There's all kinds of settings that you can go through, but primarily the ones that you're probably going to want to go through and change. Of course, you could go to themes. I'm sure there's people who are interested in setting a theme. That's where you can pick a really cool background or whatever. We'll go with this since it's fall. And you can see it's changed my whole background to leaves, or here's the beach or whatever. So you can save it under themes. That's there. And there's some other settings here that you can go through. I mean, nothing that you have to particularly do. But the general ones are the ones that's going to affect your day-to-day. So yeah, that's pretty much, that's it. That's settings. And so hopefully this will help you set up your inbox the way you want. Have a nice day.